Hi my loves, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial we are going to make a flower bralette, and for the materials I will be using a size 3 acrylic yarn and a 3.5mm hook. So for this pattern, I only know how to make it in my size. I have no idea how to adjust this pattern to other sizes. So my size is an extra small or an A cup, but I think this can also fit a size small. So let's get started. To get started, make a slip knot. After making your slip knot, chain 4. And then slip stitch into the very first chain to form a ring, like so. And then for the very first round we will work all our stitches into this center space. So for the first round, chain 1, then place 1 half double crochet in that space. So locate the middle space and place 1 half double crochet. After that, you are going to place 8 half double crochets in that same space. As I said, you are going to place 8 half double crochets in that space. So in total, you should have 9 half double crochet stitches, including the very first stitch. I have 9 half double crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? When you're done, you're gonna pull the tail to tighten up this space. And then make a slip stitch into the very first stitch to join. To get started on round 2, chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Place 2 double crochets in this same stitch. So you're going to place 2 double crochet in the very first stitch. That's 1. And 2. After that, place 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Again, place 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So you are going to place 2 double crochets in each of the stitches all the way around until you get to the last stitch. For round 2, you should have a total of 18 stitches. So after your last stitch, you're going to make a slip stitch in the very first stitch to join. So skip this beginning chain 2 and slip stitch into the very first double crochet stitch. For round 3, we are going to repeat round 2. So chain 2, again this chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Then place 2 double crochets in that very first stitch. Place 2 double crochets in the next stitch. After that, you are going to place 2 double crochets in each of the stitches all the way around until you get to your last stitch. At the end of round 3, you should have a total of 36 stitches. After your last stitch, make a slip stitch in the very first double crochet stitch to join. To work the next round, chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then place 1 single crochet in that same stitch. After that, chain 9. And then skip 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next stitch, place 1 single crochet. And then chain 9. After chaining 9, skip 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the next stitch, place 1 single crochet. After your single crochet stitch, chain 9, skip 5 stitches, place 1 single crochet in the next stitch, chain 9, skip 5 stitches, place 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way around until you have 5 stitches left. I have 5 stitches left. So after this single crochet, you're going to chain 9 and then slip stitch in the very first single crochet stitch. Okay, to work the last round of the flower, you're going to slip stitch in the very first space, chain 1, place 1 single crochet in that space, then place 2 half double crochets in that space. That's 1 and 2. After that, place 3 double crochets in that same space. And then chain 3. Place 3 double crochets in that space. Place 2 half double crochets in the same space. And then place 1 single crochet in that space. Okay, so this is what we have. We have 1 single crochet, 2 half double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then chain 3, 3 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, 1 single crochet. After your last single crochet, make a slip stitch in the single crochet of the previous row. So this one right here, slip stitch. After your slip stitch, place 1 single crochet, 2 half double crochets, and 3 double crochets in the next space. So 1 single crochet, then 2 half double crochets, and then 3 double crochets. After that, chain 3, and then we are going to work the stitches but backwards. So you're going to place 3 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, and then 1 single crochet in that same space. So start off with 3 double crochets. And then 2 half double crochets, then 1 single crochet. After that, make a slip stitch in the single crochet stitch of the previous row. Next up, you are going to repeat the same pattern. So after your slip stitch, place 1 single crochet, 2 half double crochets, 3 double crochets in the next space, then chain 2, and then place 3 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, 1 single crochet in that same space. So 1 single crochet, 2 half double crochets, 3 double crochets, then chain 3, place 3 double crochets, and then 2 half double crochets, and then 1 single crochet. After working all your stitches, make a slip stitch into the next single crochet stitch of the previous row. So you're going to repeat the same pattern all the way around. After your slip stitch, in the next space, place 1 single crochet, 2 half double crochets, 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, 1 single crochet, and then slip stitch in the single crochet stitch of the previous row. Repeat that all the way around until you get to your last space. After working your last single crochet stitch in the last space, to finish off the round, you're going to slip stitch in the very first single crochet stitch of the next space. So this is the first single crochet stitch. I'm going to slip stitch and then chain 1 and fasten off. When I measure my flower across the middle point, which is right here, so I have 2 petals over here and 2 over here. This is the center. When I measure across the center, it measures about 5.5 inches, okay? Now that we are done with this flower, you are going to go ahead and make a second flower exactly like this one, okay? So do that and I'll be back. So when you are done with both flowers, you're going to go ahead and make 120 chains. I've already worked mine. Then after making the chains, bring one of the flowers, and when you bring the flower, make sure that the right side of the flower is facing you. This is the right side and this is the wrong side, okay? You are going to make a single crochet into any of the chain 3 spaces of the petals. So I'm gonna choose this one and make 1 single crochet. After that, for size extra small or an A cup, you are going to make chains that measures 5 inches. For size small or a B cup, you are going to make chains that measures 6 inches. So since I'm making a size extra small, I'm going to make chains that measures 5 inches. I made a total of 23 chains, and when I measure it, it measures 5 inches, okay? So you have to make sure that the total number of chains that you have here is an odd number, okay? So mine is 23. 23 is an odd number. When you are done making your chains, you're going to make a single crochet in any of the chain 3 space of the next flower. So again, make sure that the right side of the flower is facing up, and then place 1 single crochet in the chain 3 space of any of the flower petal. After that, make 120 chains just like you did over here. After chaining 120 chains, fasten off. This is what we have so far. So these are the back ties. Next up, we are going to make the neck ties. So to do that, you're going to turn your flower like so. Always make sure that the right side of the flowers is facing you, okay? To work the necktie, you are going to come to your top petal. So counting from this bottom one, skip 2 petals, 1, 2, and then come to the top one and attach your yarn in the chain 3 space of the top petal. You're going to go ahead and make enough chains for your necktie. I will make 100 chains. When you are done making your chains, you're going to fasten off. Next up, you are going to attach your yarn in the top chain 3 space of the next flower. So this is the bottom petal. You're going to skip 1, 2, and then attach your yarn in the chain 3 space of the next petal. And then go ahead and make the same number of chains that you made for the other necktie. When you are done with your second necktie, fasten off. This is what we have so far. I advise that you sew in your loose ends as you go so that at the end of your project you don't have too much loose ends to sew in, okay? Next up, you are going to come to the flower on your right hand side, so this one, and then attach your yarn in the chain 3 space of this petal. So this is the bottom petal. Right here, you're going to attach your yarn in this chain 3 space. After attaching the yarn, we are going to chain 1, place 1 double crochet in the middle chain of these bottom chains, and then chain 1 and slip stitch in the opposite petal of the next flower. I made a total of 23 chains here, so that means that my middle chain is the 12th chain. Go ahead and chain 1, then place 1 double crochet in your middle chain, after making your double crochet stitch, chain 1, and then come to the next flower, make a slip stitch in the chain 3 space of this petal. So insert your hook in that chain 3 space, make a slip stitch, then chain 1 and fasten off. So this is what we have so far. You're going to go ahead and sew in your loose ends before we move forward. Next up, come to the flower on your right hand side and then attach yarn in this chain 3 space of this petal. So the petal just before the top petal, this one, attach your yarn in the chain 3 space. After attaching your yarn, chain 3, and then place 1 treble crochet in this bottom double crochet. So to work a treble crochet, you're going to yarn over 2 times, that's 1 and 2. Insert your hook in the bottom double crochet stitch, yarn over and pull through your yarn, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops, and then chain 3. After chaining 3, you're going to come to your next flower and then make a slip stitch in the chain 3 space of this petal right here. So slip stitch in the chain 3 space of the opposite petal, chain 1 and fasten off. Next up, you are going to come to the flower on your right hand side and then attach your yarn in the first chain of your necktie. This is my first chain. I'm going to attach my yarn. After attaching your yarn, you are going to chain 15, then place 1 treble crochet in this bottom treble crochet, then chain 15 and slip stitch in the first chain of the next necktie. So go ahead and chain 15. After chaining 15, place 1 treble crochet in the previous treble crochet stitch. After that, chain 15. After chaining 15, make a slip stitch in the very first chain of your next necktie. And then chain 1 and fasten off. So far, this is what we have, okay? Next up, you are going to come to the flower on your left hand side and then attach your yarn in the chain 3 space of this petal. After attaching your yarn, you are going to come to your middle chains and then count out the total number of chains you have before your middle double crochet stitch. I have 11 chain before my double crochet stitch, and I also have 11 chains after my double crochet stitch. So when you figured out the number of chains that you have before your double crochet stitch, you are going to come to these other chains, and then after this bottom single crochet stitch, you are going to count out the number of chains that you have here. So I have 11 chains. I'm going to count out 11 chains and then slip stitch in the next chain. I hope I'm not confusing you. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, and then I will mark the next chain. So this is where I'm going to make my slip stitch. After that, go back to your space, attach your yarn, and then make a slip stitch in that marked chain, like so. Then chain 1 and fasten off. There you go. Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing for this other side, but in reverse. So come to the flower on your right hand side, and then you're going to come to the chains and count out the same number of chains that you counted out over here. Mine is 11. I'm gonna count out 11 chains, then attach my yarn in the next chain and then slip stitch in this chain 3 space right here. So skipping this single crochet stitch, I'm going to start from the next chain to count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Then in the next chain I'll attach my yarn. After attaching your yarn, slip stitch in the chain 3 space of this petal. So just insert your hook in that chain 3 space and make a slip stitch, then chain 1 and fasten off. So next up, come to the flower on your left hand side and attach your yarn in this chain 3 space. So this petal, attach your yarn in that chain 3 space. After attaching your yarn, chain 5, come to the bottom chains, skip 5 chains, then slip stitch in the next chain. Go ahead and chain 5. So you are going to skip 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, then make a slip stitch in the next chain. Chain 1 and fasten off. So this is how it is. Okay, now that we are done with this side, we are going to repeat the same thing for the flower on your right hand side, but in reverse. You are going to come to the bottom chains, skip 5 chains, attach your yarn in the next chain, then chain 5 and slip stitch in the chain 3 space of this petal. So I'm gonna count out 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the next chain I will attach my yarn. After attaching my yarn, I'll chain 5 and then make a slip stitch in the chain 3 space of this petal. So I'm gonna insert my hook and slip stitch, then chain 1 and fasten off. So far so good. This is what we have. Okay, next up, come to the flower on your left hand side and then reattach your yarn in the very first chain of the necktie. After that, you are going to chain 15, then double crochet in the chain 3 space of the next petal, then chain 8, skip 5 chains on the bottom and place a slip stitch in the next chain. I'm so exhausted. So this is my necktie and this is my first chain. Remember, we already made a slip stitch into that first chain. So you are going to go in there again and attach your yarn. After attaching your yarn, chain 15. After chaining 15, come to the chain 3 space of the next petal. Okay, right here, and then place a double crochet in that chain 3 space. There you go. After that, chain 8. Then come to your bottom chains or your back tie. You're going to skip 5 chains. So this is the last slip stitch I made. I'm going to skip that slip stitch and then skip 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then make a slip stitch in the next chain. Then chain 1 and fasten off. This is what it looks like. We chained 15, double crocheted in the next petal, then chain 8, skip 5 chains on the bottom and slip stitch in the next chain. So we are going to repeat what we just did here for the other side of this flower, but in reverse. Come to the flower on your right hand side, then coming to the bottom chains, you are going to skip 5 chains and attach your yarn in the next chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Attach yarn in the next one. Ooh. After attaching your yarn, you are going to chain 8. And then after chaining 8, place 1 double crochet in the chain 3 space of this next petal. So 1 double crochet right here. Okay, after that, chain 15. After chaining 15, make a slip stitch in the first chain of your necktie. This is my necktie. You're gonna come to this very first chain and make a slip stitch, then chain 1 and fasten off. This is what your work should look like so far. Okay, you are going to come to the back tie on your right hand side. This is my back tie. and this is where I made my last slip stitch. So from that point I'm going to measure out 3 inches. This is 3 inches. I'm gonna attach a stitch marker right there. After that, go to the other back tie and just turn your work to the base. I have turned my work and this is my back tie. I'm going to measure out 3 inches again and then attach yarn in that 3-inch mark. After attaching your yarn, we are going to place 1 double crochet in each of the chains across on the base. So 1 double crochet in each of these chains all the way across until we get to the next stitch marker. To get started, chain 3, place 1 double crochet in the next chain, place 1 double crochet in the next chain. Okay, continue to place 1 double crochet in each chains across until you get to the last chain before the slip stitch. I have placed my stitches all the way across and this is where I made a slip stitch. So I'm going to place 1 double crochet in the back of that slip stitch. So this is my slip stitch. I'm going to place 1 double crochet in the back of that slip stitch and continue to place 1 double crochet in each of the chains across. Keep placing 1 double crochet in each of the chains and 1 double crochet in the back of each of the slip stitches. Okay, 1 double crochet. When you get to this single crochet stitch, you will place 1 double crochet there, then 1 double crochet in each of the chains, 1 double crochet in the back of the middle double crochet stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the chains. Just repeat that all the way across until you get to the chain that has your stitch marker. This is what your work should look like. Okay, so after placing 1 double crochet in that last chain, you're going to take off your stitch marker. To work the next row, chain 4 and turn your work. Skip 1 stitch and place 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, place 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, place 1 double crochet in the next stitch. You are going to repeat chain 1, skip 1 stitch, place 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Repeat that all the way across until you get to your last stitch. To work the next row, chain 3, turn your work, place 2 double crochets in that same stitch. After that, skip the next stitch and place a slip stitch in the following stitch. Then chain 3, place 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Skip the next stitch, place a slip stitch in the following stitch. Again, chain 3, place 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Then skip the next stitch and in the following stitch place a slip stitch. Okay, so after your slip stitch you're going to chain 3, place 2 double crochets in that same stitch, then skip 1 stitch, place a slip stitch in the following stitch. Again, chain 3, place 2 double crochets in the same stitch, skip 1 stitch, place a slip stitch in the following stitch. Okay, you're going to repeat that all the way across. After working my last double crochet, I have one stitch left, so I'm just going to slip stitch in this last stitch and then chain one and fasten off. Alright my loves, we are finally done with our bralette and this is the final look. It's very pretty and I hope that you like it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.